morning, everybody. Welcome to Aspen, Colorado. Staggeringly beautiful, unbelievably beautiful, this place, and I couldn't be happier that Jaguar was kind enough to fly me out here from LA for the launch of the XE and F-Pace. So I'm going to start with the XE. This is the 27 XE 35T R design, which is a mouthful, and what that means is 3-liter supercharged V6 up front, 340 horsepower. This one is rear-wheel drive, although all-wheel drive is available. 8-speed ZF gearbox. This one weighs around 3,600 pounds and is fully loaded. This one has all the goodies: the two-tone leather, the really good nav, the really good stereo, the adaptive everything. It's really, really a nice car, and it's 59 grand as tested. It starts at 49 grand. And we're gonna go for a drive down just an incredible road right now, and we'll see how it do. I'm a pretty big fan of this car so far. I spent all day yesterday driving it, and I really enjoyed it. So, and I'll explain to you why. It's the right size. It's got room in the front and the back. It's got a great sounding engine, straight out of the F-Type, although it's sort of the corporate V6 now, I guess, but sounds really good. Pretty refined in the cabin. Not a lot of wind or engine noise comes in here, but the stuff that does is quite pleasant. They have really done a good job choosing roads. And like the XF I reviewed earlier this year, the best thing about this car is the chassis tuning. It's got double wishbone suspension in the front. It's got limited slip diff in the back. Look at this road. This is just the best. And this thing with the double wishbone front suspension, its rock star moment is mid-corner bumps. It handles bumps mid-corner really well, as I found out yesterday. This road today is super smooth, and so we may not have a lot of places to demo that, but it's worth it to just be driving on this road, which is just spectacular running through this valley. This one has the optional 20-inch wheels, which look awesome. A couple of the other wheel designs for this thing I wasn't a huge fan of, but these are great. This is about as pretty as one of these gets, although I am a fan of the British Racing Green combo over tan, which I love. It's got a nice linear power band, doesn't get away from you, really good throttle response, really good gearbox response. The ZF 8-speed is always a pleasure. Doesn't make me wish for a dual clutch at all. The interior is very nice. It's well laid out. The new nav system and multimedia system, which has a name I can't remember right now, intelligent something or other. It's got a really fast quad-core processor, and it works like a cell phone. You can pinch to zoom and swipe and all that good stuff. Meridian stereos, excellent as usual. This thing is really happy going fast. It's a beautiful tourer, and because of that double wishbone suspension layout, it's not super stiff. It handles well, but it doesn't have much of a trade-off when it comes to ride quality. It rides really nice. Now, it's not an R model. It's an R design model, which makes it look aggressive, but it's, you know, they're probably going to come out with a faster, stiffer, meaner Dorifto one at some point in the future. For now, this is an everyday car. You're thinking Audi A4, BMW 335, and in that type of comparison, I mean, it's right at home. Comparably, it's about 5 to 7 grand cheaper than the equivalent BMW 335. About maybe a little more than an S4, although I don't know quite how high you can option those up. I haven't looked in a while. But it feels, you know, when I drove the XF, it was 72 grand, and I was sort of like, I'm not really sure this is 72 grand worth of car, but this feels like high 50s for sure. This road is just amazing. Steering's nice and direct. The only real sign of cost cutting that bugs me is the plastic shifter paddles. The F-Pace, which I'll show you in a bit, the F-Pace S, has metal shifter paddles, and if you're using the paddles, you notice the difference. That's the only really cheap thing in the whole car. The rest of it feels very premium, especially with the two-tone leather, heated and cooled seats and all that jazz. Really turns in nice, stays pretty flat through the corners. Little bit of body roll, but that's okay actually. If it's too flat, it's probably too stiff, or you've got some kind of crazy active sway bar going on or something. Oh wow, that was going really fast there. The power delivery is really good. You know, 340 is the peak horsepower, so it's not like, you know, it's got a big turbo torque shove at 3 grand, but it's linear, it builds. And because the 3-liter V6 is exterior dimension-wise the same size as the 5-liter V8, we know the 5-liter V8 fits in this car, which is excellent for the future. I am pleased with that. This looks like a good spot to turn around once I can see around this corner. There we go, turning radius. Not bad. Medium. The F-Pace has a surprisingly great turning radius. Yesterday I drove the all-wheel drive version of this. Not a whole lot different, honestly. Dynamically, it's pretty similar. It weighs a little bit more. Smells something funny. I don't think it's me. It smells like someone else's brakes. Not my brakes. My brakes are working good. But a bunch of cars just came on this road. I wonder if they were melting brakes. Sounds nice outside the car too. When the car goes by, it sounds really, really good. But they've managed to keep it super refined in here. You only really get the good noises. They don't do any of that funky, you know, exhaust through the speaker stuff. That's how the engine sounds. It's good. And I like this thing. I like it. It's fairly conservative. It's not a super aggressive design the way the F-Type is, but it's got the elements. I can fit behind myself in the back, which is great. I mean, if you can fit a 6'3" guy in the back seat of your mid-size sedan, that's a good thing. I really enjoy driving this. It's very nimble, especially for 3,600 pounds. Really hides that weight well. Really just nice flow through that section. Winding it out. So I didn't notice a whole lot of difference between the all-wheel drive and this car. I did notice the difference. I drove the 2-liter diesel, which is only 3,300 pounds, and that has 180 horsepower, 310 pound-foot of torque engine, which was okay for everyday use. It's certainly not the enthusiast choice. I romped on it pretty hard and still returned high 20 miles per gallon, which was great. We were up at 12,000 feet yesterday though, and it was pretty gutless up there. What you do gain is it feels a lot lighter in the nose. Most of the weight you save by going with that 4-cylinder diesel is out of the nose, and the steering becomes much lighter. The front end of the car feels much lighter. Not that the front end of this feels heavy, it doesn't, but you can tell the difference when you drive them back to back for sure. I would have this one. I would not have the diesel. It's just not quick enough for me for a sports sedan, but for an everydayer, not bad, especially if you do not live at 12,000 feet. Even this one was, was probably down 40, 50 horsepower at 12,000 feet. Still pulled pretty good. Right now we're probably at around 9, 10,000, and it's pulling strong. When you hit the rev limiter, it does not shift up in manual, which is perfect. Look, there's the rev limiter. So manual means manual, which is excellent. You don't want to think you have manual control, only to find out at the worst possible time that you do not have manual control. That would be a huge bummer. These gauges they're nice and easy to read, same as the rest of the Jags, same as the F-Type. LCD display in the middle, which is pretty configurable. The new map looks really good on the screen. It's easy to read. For the colorblind folks among us, it is colorblind friendly. They have chosen their colors wisely. Sign just said slow, ghosts ahead. That doesn't make any sense. If there are ghosts, you can go right through them. Brakes not really fading at all. I'm not getting super into them, but they're holding up. And whatever I smelled before, I don't smell no more. So this is a really smooth, refined driving experience. It's not a race car. It's not pretending to be a race car. It's not an R. It's a luxury car with some pretty solid sporting chops, some pretty good build quality, a very good build quality. I'm not going to sell it short. A lot of features, really comfortable seats. It's a good car. It's just a good car. And it handles mid-corner bumps very, very well. And I like it. I'm a fan. And no, not just because Jaguar flew me here. It's a good car because it's a good car. So, I'd like to thank Jaguar for having me on their event. It was well organized, and your people are always excellent. And the new XE is really nice. It's a really nice car. And if you are shopping for a 3 Series or a higher end Lexus IS or an Audi A4, I would definitely recommend popping into the Jaguar dealer and at least having a look, because I think that they've done well here, and I certainly enjoy driving it, and it would make a good everyday sports sedan. So I'm going to see you guys in a minute, or in a little bit, when I go drive the F-Pace, and we'll see how that is. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.